Hello everyone, today we are joined by Myrwn after MKOI's win over NAVI 2-0. So first Myrwn, how do you feel after this series, which I'm sure didn't go exactly as you expected, right?
I mean, no, surely they didn't go as planned, you know. I think it was two shaky games. Yeah, I think today we didn't play our best, so it really showed in stage that with a lot of mistakes and now we punished them well, so the games were actually really close.
And actually, to go back on the series, in game one today, you were like very much behind from the early, and it was kind of the same against JX last week. Do you think the reason why there's such a gap between the top four and the rest of the teams in the LEC is because of the macro and teamwork in mid to late game? I mean, obviously that game two was not the best example of it, right? But you still won in the end, so
I mean, yeah, I think it's mostly macro because I think like I wouldn't call any players bad. I think all of them are good players and like mechanically we have a really good level, you know. So I would say it's mostly macro game and team play in general, the biggest difference. And in many games that, for example, I think it really showed a big gap. It was like us playing into SK last split. Like I
mhm.
think the two games were pretty clean and how you dominated on the map. So I think like if, for example, lower tier teams focus more in their team play, I think they can make such a big improvement because I don't think the difference comes in like laning phase or always how you like play mechanically a team fight. It's more of how you play your position, how you're moving around the map, all that.
Okay, and in general, I feel like you guys are still looking far from your spring playoff form, right? Would you say you just need more time to ramp up, or do you think it's more that you don't prepare to face specific teams that much in BO3s and regular season? Because obviously we know that like your scouting and preparation when it came to G2 and KC in spring playoff helped you a lot.
I think it's mostly time. I think
Okay.
we come from having a long break because I
Mhm.
think it was needed. So I think it's just slowly ramp up and be ready for the moment that playoffs comes. And hopefully, and it's our objective, reaching worlds, which will be the plan to ramp up and end up in the peak, you know, in worlds. So
Yeah.
it's what we're aiming for.
Okay. And to go back a bit on your international campaign, I wanted to know, like, first, did you get to try the new WASG bindings at MSI? Because I know some players did, right? So yeah, did you get to try those?
I mean, I didn't. I saw they said that some pros could try it. I'm still waiting. You know, I
Okay.
really like trying those things, but Riot hates me or something.
And do you think it might have a huge impact on the game, and especially on the esports landscape?
I mean, I'm not sure about the league itself. Like for example, I played Supervive a lot,
Yeah.
and I'm really used to how it works. I like the WSD, so I'm excited to try it when it releases, and for sure it actually helps league a bit, but I'm not sure how much. I'm not an expert on the topic, so I cannot really tell you.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure it will make some change.
To talk about you individually, I feel like last year you and Frescovi had a rough time playing at Worlds, right? This
Mhm.
time I personally felt like you had a much better showing, even like you took some responsibilities in games by playing some of your packet picks. I remember, like for example, the two games you guys won at MSI, where you won Akali against Beans Gwen, and you won
Mhm.
Irelia against Yorick. So yeah, do you feel like you played more relaxed this time around? What made the difference from an international to the other?
I mean, I would say I have a better mentality and I'm also more prepared. Also, I work with Melset a lot in, I think, my laning phase. Like, for example, I think last year they could punish me a lot, even with
Mm.
swaps being around. I think this year it's more important laning phase
Yeah.
because, like, there's no level one swap, you know, they skip that much matchups. And even though, like, you see a lot of swaps for grabs, I think there's still a lot of laning into it. So I think it wasn't my main focus, but I work on it, you know, because yeah, it was clearly a weakness last year, and I
Mhm.
think now I'm way more stable and I can get leads from my lane consistently, so I'm happy with it.
And like, do you think also the mentality changed a bit because maybe you were a rookie at the time, so it changed like your approach to G International?
Yeah, I mean for sure. I think like for example, last year in Worlds, I was just like maybe playing all the day without having any time for myself
Yeah.
or as a team together, and I think it doesn't really help me. I think more of a player that with scrims, I'm some solo queue. I don't need to play like 20 games a day, you know. I think with like for example if we're doing triple block in worlds and I play like 2, 3 solo queues, even 4, and I have my time off, I maybe go see some of the city, for example,
Yeah, sure.
and I'm a bit more relaxed and I do like team activities or whatever. I think I play way better, and I think for EWC and MSI we had a bit more time. I spent my time, I share it better, in my
Okay.
schedule. It wasn't that just play, play, play.
Okay. I also felt like the biggest gap EU had with the Eastern team was the early game. I also saw Jojo and Alvaro talking about it on Euphoria, saying especially level one they were much sharper than us, right? Would you say the
Yeah.
next step for EU to match them is to work on having consistently good early games? Is it actually challenging to keep, all the fundamentals in mid games and everything while working on another department of the game?
I mean, every time you work in something else, you will end up dropping a bit other
Yeah.
things. Like, for example, you can see in the games today, we are working on more things, not only what we were good already in last split. So you will end up dropping things. Like, for example, I think we're a really good team in team fights, but it's not showing this because we're working on many things. So I think it's you need to do a balance, and also you need to adapt until it's kind of in your autopilot to do
Yeah.
what you're working on. So I think it's a matter of time. And what you said about like level ones and everything, I think like in EU no one played level one last split, and you can see in every game plan in scrims, Asian teams will do a lot of things in level one, and they would get pretty big leads from it. So I think like it's something that we're also learning. We actually implemented in our games, and it's a really good learning from it.
And I also wanted to talk about a bit your pocket pick because I feel like right now the meta on top lane is very much oriented towards 5 or 6 prior picks, whereas last year there were much more room for creativity, right? Still, you're clearly one of the best in the league on a few of the meta picks, such as, I don't know, Ambessa, Cassante, Rumble. So would you say the fact that the meta is maybe a bit less open is a nerf for you? Or do you think it maybe pushed you to train even more on the meta picks and that it's even a buff in a way?
I mean, I'm really comfortable on the meta picks, so I'm chill about it. I mean, I wish I could play more picks, but then I know the meta is centered around bot lane in competitive,
Yeah.
the most broken role in the game. What can you say? So that's what you see picking like top side so early in the draft.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm used to it. It's something like we were already doing last split. It was, I think at the start it was for me hard to adapt because I didn't really fully understand why we had to pick top lane so early all the games. But I think
Mm.
no, it's just I can just see it's the meta. I'm used to it, and you don't need to do it every game. But if it gives a little bot lane, you can also end up getting help from bot lane with swaps. I think it's not like even if you blind, it's not the end of the world. I don't need like to counter pick my Nico, to counter pick my Varus. I'm happy with how the meta is, in top lane. It's
Okay.
chill.
Also, you are one of the few players in LoL sports who sometimes let yourself go a bit wild on stage, especially during important matches and when you're in front of a big stage and everything. So, would you say that is something that is missing with LoL sports player? And I feel like only LCS South players have moments where, like yours, but in other games like
Yeah.
CS, it's much more present, right?
I mean, I'm not sure because, for example, every time I see Valorant, the
Yeah,
competition
true.
just feels way different. Also because in League, like you win a round in Valorant and you have some time off.
Yeah,
Here is you win a team fight and you're going instead to nurture, instead to push waves, and you are already thinking of the next plan.
yeah,
So I think it's not that easy. But I mean, you can say Titan, no, in LTS South, he was doing all these moments even after
yeah,
the games. Like for example, when he went into Leviathan. So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure. I think people don't have that passion, to show it in the stage. And for me, just something natural, honestly. It's something I've been doing all my career, even
yeah.
though, like for example, in amateur it didn't show because there were only cameras. But I'm shouting at my enemies. I don't care. Like even if they cannot hear it.
Okay. So to close the interview, I guess you're expecting to go to Madrid with your fan, like to reunite with your fans, the MKOI fans, and everything, and maybe be able to show more of your on-stage emotions. Who knows? So who do you think you'll face in grand final if you were to go, and which team would you actually prefer to face if you could choose?
I mean, I already know my choice. If I can choose, it's Casey in front of
Okay.
my crowd.
Yeah,
I have
sure.
to defend my trophy. I am the king of Madrid, so I will make sure that I'm still after the best of five there.
And do you think it's actually the team you will face? Like if you had to be like realistic?
I mean, it's either them or G2. I think
Okay.
they're the strongest two teams apart from us. But if I can choose, it's always Casey. I think it's the most hyped match too. So I think it's just a mix of everything. Two big fan base. I'm also defending my city.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I
Okay.
think I would say it's the best.
Okay. Okay, well, hope you'll get to show your Lamine Yamal level in Madrid. And yeah, thank you very much for the interview, Myrwn. See you.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.
Goodbye.